I ignored my destiny once. I cannot do that again. Even for you. I'm the only one who knows that. At least I'm the only one with the will to act on it.
The Mad Titan Podcast with your host, Jay Washington.
What's happening, everybody? I'm back. It's episode 71 of the Mad Titan Podcast with me, your resident supervillain, Mr. Jay Washington. Thank you, everybody, to listen to episode 70 and heard me all in my goddamn feelings because I'd recorded episode 70 with members of my supervillain squad on Patreon, and then I sounded like I was talking at the end of a hallway in a very bad horror movie, and I was so mad. Like, I still have that. I'm going to post it up in the Patreon, but I need to find some free time to do something because I'm nonstop going, and then I'm sleepy and tired like a dead thing fresh off a rock. But that's not why we're here today. It's not at all. The week's been interesting. It's been fun. It's been busy. So before I go into this episode, it ain't a lot of Marvel shit to talk about because Marvel is like, we ain't got nothing to tell y'all till hopefully Black Widow come in theaters, which I'm like, I'm cool. And then I'll get to that in a minute. But nonetheless, I'm trying this experiment again. I have members of my supervillain squad on Patreon. You always hear me talk about it no matter what show I do. And I pump it up. And it's not just to say, everybody just pump up Patreon. Like, the Patreon pay the bills. Please support Patreon. Like, these people support me and that's dope. But also, I'm enjoying having the conversations with them. Like, the last episode we did was fun. And thanks to a horrible camera, which that's what I'm going to pray on. I'm going to put on my Amazon wish list for my birthday. My birthday's on 25th. Hint, hint. That I get a new camera that's not one that just makes me feel like I want to throw it out the window. But either way, I am here with at least 5 members of the squad. I put it in our Patreon Discord. Let me see. I saw some shit.
Technically, I'm not part of the squad.
You're not?
No.
How'd you get in the Discord?
I don't know. I got my ways.
Hey, man, hold on. You can't say this while you recording. And then I got to sit here. You are part of it. Because if you're part of the 101 tier.
Yes.
So that's how you get it. Everybody that's part of it. So, first of all, don't play with my goddamn emotions. I'm tired already. That was one of the Patreon members, Luis Torres.
So easy.
I mean, you can tell I'm tired. I got Luis Torres, Joe Crack, Randy Costa, Cheryl Corbin, and Alberto Rios in here with me. You're going to hear all 5 of them talking and me trying not to lose my damn mind. Thank you, Luis. I appreciate it. I really
love you, TJ.
Yeah, that's because we just recorded a goddamn hour and a half.
Look, I'm making no tight end jokes, all right? I respect you that much.
Let me tell you something. Y'all start tight end jokes while I'm recording this goddamn podcast like this is game time or something. For those who don't know, game time, they always like to call it because the Bears drafted 96 in the last NFL draft. 96-7.
We traded a 5th round pick for one of them.
See, here's the thing. This is just audio, so y'all can't see it, but we can see each other's facial reaction. And Alberto's from Chicago, just like I am, and so he knows the pain. Like, we know the pain. Just seeing all the damn tight ends, and no matter what show I'm on, somebody's like, hey, they talk about this movie about them tight ends. I was like, your mom. That's how I feel. I feel like I'm going to old black man. Your mama, goddamn. Your mama ain't your daddy. Your daddy ain't shit. He ain't really your daddy. You know what I'm saying? Why don't you check on the uncle that's always coming over at the barbecue? That don't nobody know how he's got in the family.
At least your team wasn't the Rams, like it was for mine for the longest of time.
Well, yeah, but listen. Anyway, for those who are new to the show, you know what we do here. Get you caught up on everything happening in the Marvel and DC live action and cinematic universes. It is barbershop talk for nerds. So basically, we're going to sit there and chat it up like it's in the shop. That's how I always do every week when even if I'm by myself, which I was last week, which really was weird because I just kept looking at my screen like, this is what we've come to. This is what we've come to. But I tried an experiment. It didn't work. So what I did, just so you all can know, I tried to record it earlier. We did a test record. I listened to the audio. The audio worked. I was like, less Jesus. Thank you, technological Jesus. And I came back, and then we did this. So now we're here. Now, here's the thing. There's not a lot of Marvel news. Not a lot of Marvel news. Ain't nothing. And Joe just asked me a good question in our private chat we have. And because I bring it up. I'll bring it up later when we do all the questions and everything. But that's a good question. I'll bring it up later. Make sure you remind me, because if not, my brain will go elsewhere. The only real Marvel news I think I have is the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. finale happened this past week. They wrapped up 7 years of the show. with something I stopped watching it for a while because I kind of thought they really had lost me, and it really didn't keep me like it used to. Because I love the fact that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. started off as the bridge show between the movies. It was that show in between MCU movies when we didn't have a lot of MCU movies, and it was directly connected because it started off right after Thor: The Dark World, which, if you don't remember, is the most worst movie of history. You look like you were going to argue me with that one, or just say another.
No, I was going to say what was brought up in the chat. Yeah, that's another news.
Well, we'll talk about that, but we'll talk about that later. I mean, I'll talk about the Marvel games. Y'all know I don't talk about it. Y'all had that discussion amongst yourself. Y'all trying to make more work for me. I got too much stuff to do already. But I'm going to go around the horn with everybody I got, and I'm going to pick somebody at random, and I want to know your thoughts. If you saw, so first of all, because I can see, just let me know if you saw the finale of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Okay. No, shaking hands. Randy, did you see it? Okay, so nobody else saw it but me. Cool.
You're the only nerd here.
Huh?
You're the only nerd here.
Well, I clearly, man, look, I'm be honest, I watched it about an hour ago. I watched it before I did my one-on-one with Luis because I was like, yo, let me watch the finale. I've been watching P-Valley on Stars, and you give me a show about anything in the South involving a strip club that has a whole lot of layers to it, because it's not even about just a strip club. It's like, it's deep. And I know this is a nerd podcast, but y'all really got to check out P-Valley. Like, Uncle Clifford is. Uncle Clifford changed your life. Like,
so
Uncle
good.
Clifford is a bad boss bitch. But anyway,
so
I
good,
really believe with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. though. But we'll get into it, Randy. But I think with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., to say this, to sum it up, they closed it off very well. They concluded it with not they just threw this together. They gave everybody closure in the ways they should give them closure. And again, if you don't know, spoiler alerts, Fitz and Simmons, they have a daughter.
Oh.
But you found that out anyway because they end up having a grandkid. So you're like, of course they had to have a child eventually. Like, a grandkid just don't fucking happen. But we see
you never know.
Right. We see the daughter. Mac is still working for, I guess that's the thing. I don't know if they're working for SWORD because supposedly S.H.I.E.L.D. is done. Mm-hmm. Like, they're all agents. Some of them are agents in different things. And we know S.H.I.E.L.D. ain't a thing anymore. Like, go ahead, Luis.
They may have been hinting at with the Spider-Man in the second Homecoming, with Spider-Man Homecoming, with them being with
Happy
what's his
Sword
face?
Being a thing,
with him being in space or whatever, taking a vacation or whatever.
Well,
but they didn't have said it, but they were hinting at it.
Him being in space, that's setting up SWORD.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. It may have happened for a while since S.H.I.E.L.D. went down.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm saying. Yeah, they've been setting that up. So they've been setting up SWORD. So that was the thing. But I'm talking about how in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., they didn't even reference it. Like, they're agents still, but clearly we know there's no S.H.I.E.L.D. They've been on the run doing things behind the scenes. And so to have that is cool. But again, everybody keeps saying, I hope to see him in an MCU movie. With the exception of Clark Gregg, you ain't more likely seeing nobody in an MCU film. I don't know why people look. I understand the hopes and the ambitions and the prayer for it, but you got to be realistic. TV contracts are completely different than film contracts. There's a completely different ball game there. If you happen to see that, it's a rarity. I know the biggest thing that keeps being spread around, and it sounds palatable and feasible, but you also have to realize it's spread by We Got This Covered, and they are full of bullshit. Is that Charlie Cox may continue to be Daredevil? If that happens, he'll be Daredevil if they continue the Marvel series. Now, he might be the only one to go over. He might be the first because Mike Coulter, the homie who played Luke Cage, he's done with that. Kristen Ritter has already said she's done as Jessica Jones. John Bernthal, like, just give him a job. Like, just give dude a job. That's all I need in my life. You know what I'm saying? Like, I rewatched Daredevil season 2 and then the first season of The Punisher on purpose.
Oh my God.
It's some of the best, like, it's just, it handled Frank Castle in a way.
TV cinematically done.
Yeah, it handled Frank Castle in a way that I don't think, we got the violence we wanted out of Punisher Warzone. We got like a lot of violence, but the story as a whole, the way he deals with it. And I also give so much credit for season 1 of Punisher dealing with PTSD when it comes to veterans. it dealt with it respectfully. You know what I'm saying? They could have just played it off and done that, but it did it well. So I watched this. So if you tell me you bringing John Barenthal back, him and Charlie Cox, I'll say out of all the people in the Marvel television Netflix universe are the only two I'm cool with seeing. But go ahead, Joe.
I can't remember his name. Oh, Vincent. Would you like Vincent?
Vincent D'Onofrio? Absolutely. It's yeah.
Because like he was so good.
Yeah, I would keep him as Kingpin. But see, I think so. Him as Kingpin would work because of when. So here's where I'm going with all this. You have to look at the heroes we have, the level of star caliber, as well as stature and whatnot. So then when we're adding in some of these TV people, you got to think, would it look great on film? D'Onofrio works because he's a big, massive dude who what Kingpin is, right? Barenthal, because we fluctuated what the Punisher's height is. But the problem, Barenthal's only 5'11". So when you're looking at a Thor, granted Chadwick Boseman isn't tall, but also what story are you going to tell with the Punisher, that level of Punisher, in Marvel Studios? You probably can't, because he's way more violent than what a Deadpool is going to be.
Well, it depends, though, because a lot of, I wouldn't necessarily say complaints, but a lot of valid criticism from the Marvel movies is that there's like the big final battle scenes are way out, and it's like hordes and mobs fighting against each other for the good side and the bad side. If you wanted to mix it up and say, let's do some more close quarter combat, let's like put it in like kind of where the TV shows took it to such a good level of quality, put it in a building, in a hallway, and then maybe it would make sense to bring some of those TV characters for just a few of those fight scenes here and there. It could work.
I agree. Randy, you got something?
I like John Barenthal. Every movie he's in, he gets killed off pretty easily. So I'm just upset about that.
Did not Sicario. The show did that. Sicario. They killed him off hella quick. You was like, this motherfucker was Shane in The Walking Dead. What are y'all doing?
No respect. No respect.
Every movie he's in, he's always killed early. I like Charlie Cox as Daredevil. I thought he was fantastic.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're gonna do or what the direction's gonna be in Phase 4. So I'm just like, hopefully this happens, because honestly, I would love to see some of those Netflix characters on the widescreen, but I don't know, man. Netflix has kind of got that thing on lock right now, man. They said, not for 2 years, baby.
Well, we'll talk about that in a hot second. What'd you say, Cheryl?
Because of the situation, the 2 years is going to be up sooner, before they could start filming again. It might.
This is very true, because I think the majority of them, I think Jessica Jones might be, one of them is up right now, something like that, or close to being up. I don't know who the first one is. Somebody is close to being up already. So it's like right behind that. Luis, you had something you wanted to say?
I was going to say, I think I was going to go with what Sherry said, is that it will work if they continue what they were doing. They bring them back to TV, but under Disney. So continue what their stories or whatever, start over with the stories, but have it like their characters brought over to TV, over to the big screen with the storylines that you already had on TV. So the big problem with movies is that you don't have enough time to develop them. But now we have an opportunity with them owning their own streaming services to put out more to know about the characters that way.
But the thing is, that's true. Now that's true. I agree with you. But the thing is, when we're talking about these characters from Netflix, we've already had them developed. That's the thing. We don't need to develop them. They're developed, and you can continue the stories. The issue is, one of the big issues, again, when we're talking about Marvel Studios now, all these stories, because of Netflix, was given that range to explore and be more edgy, if you will, and it worked. Now that edge level of that factor won't happen on Disney Plus, because again, I'll go to something real quick. New Mutants drops on the 28th, right? And everybody's like, oh, it's coming out in theaters. I was like, I guess so now, since theaters gonna open. Okay, whatever. That's on y'all. But the thing is, they were talking. Remember how everybody was like, "Well, just release it on Disney Plus, just release it on Disney Plus, or release it on Hulu." Now, originally, New Mutants was an R-rated horror movie.
Mm-hmm.
It was R-rated. I don't know when they decided to go PG-13 because
when they got Fox,
I go clearly, or they decided to do this. We're gonna go hard PG-13 because that's the thing now. Instead of labeling something R, you're doing a hard PG-13. So, with that said, PG-13, just saying it in itself, because hard, you don't label anything hard PG-13. You label it TVM, TVMA, TV, R, PG, PG-13, etc. That would give them the Disney Plus allowability for this, right? But you're talking about the Netflix shows now. Again, unless they tone down the violence and the gore that New Mutants is supposed to have, which, by the way, if you haven't listened to a previous episode, it's only going to be an hour and a half movie. That's it. I have zero issue with it at all. Look, let me say this. We have all. I'm gonna get to you, Randy, in a hot second.
And the sex too. The sex. They got to tone down on the sex.
Yeah, they got to tone down on the sex. Because when it came to Jessica Jones, she was getting her back blown out. Like, that was the thing. But see, and I'm glad you just brought that up, because I'm gonna go to two things. One, fuck it, I just forgot what I was gonna say. Look, when it comes to the sex, I bring that up because I was talking about She-Hulk. If you've read the She-Hulk comics, She-Hulk is a sex maniac.
Mm-hmm.
Because of her transformation, her sex drive is through the roof. You about to say something, Joe?
Yeah. Well, that has changed a lot over the years.
Oh, they've changed it?
Yeah. That definitely in the John Byrne and the Dan Slott run, she was definitely very open and free. In the more recent runs, she's been dealing more with she's been more afraid to Hulk out because comic book stuff happened that she became the uncontrollable monster that Bruce Banner used to turn into. So
now
it was and then there was also the straight up serious lawyer arc for a while too.
Right, when she was a Hulk, she was She-Hulk as the lawyer.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
I remember that one. The one you just brought up though, the trying to control it, I can see that probably being the way Disney Plus goes there.
Yeah, it became less comedic over the years. So.
Well, yeah, I think they're gonna have the beautiful thing about Marvel Studios. They try to keep the funny in stuff. Sometimes they force it, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
But going back to New Mutants, that's what it was. You're trying to say, because I had to remember, I was like, I went on this track, he brought up She-Hulk. I was like, yeah, let me go there for a second. When you change it to PG-13, you're gonna put it on Disney Plus. Now, if it still has this violence in it, if it still has one F-bomb, you're still gonna keep it on that if you're Disney Plus, or are you gonna shift it to Hulu? Because you own Hulu now. You see what I'm saying? Now you own Hulu. Now, granted, they're no longer called Netflix's heroes. They're Marvel's whatever to do with when we talk about Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, Daredevil. I don't want to mention the other dude because that was just so mad. And then the Punisher.
You got screwed over.
Yeah, because I don't want to mention the other hero dude because the first season we was like, y'all just gonna throw anything on the air, huh? And see if it sticks. Y'all literally think the same. Oh, my bad. It was the same dude that made Inhumans. This checks out. then you get season 2, and season 2 gets good of Iron Fist, and you're like, well, what? Why the fuck couldn't y'all do this the first?
And by then, everybody gave up on it, so nobody watched it.
Nobody watched it.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody watched it because everybody was like, well, the first season is trash. But I bring all that up to say is, again, the two will, with the two being Disney Plus or Hulu connecting to the MCU, how the stories and the characters go, it's going to be interesting to see how they do that. If they do that, again, we always have to keep ourselves open for the more than likely possibility that there will be brand new people playing all these characters.
And I don't think they will. The people are going to be different. And I don't think they're going to bring him in the big stream. But one of the biggest arguments all fans had was, what the hell is Black Widow and Clinton doing fighting against essentially gods or against aliens? They're humans. They have nothing special to them. Granted, in the comic books, we know why they're there. We know why they're special. But on the movies, they haven't made it seem like a reason for them to be in there. Or like if you bring Daredevil.
Okay, hold on.
The hell are you going to do?
I get what you're saying about the human element as opposed to these superpower beings. But here's the beautiful thing. Hold on, let me finish it. The beautiful thing, because this is my show. I run this. The thing is, they explained that in a sense in Age of Ultron. They did that real easy with one line. When Clint was in that train car with Wanda, he was like, I'm here with a bow and arrow. I don't even know what I'm doing here. That lets you know they acknowledge the human factor to superhuman factor. So when you have those street level heroes, you still have those. You still have, again, Ant-Man and the Wasp are basic humans. Their abilities don't kick in until they shrink. Think about it. Ant-Man is just a dude in a suit. If he don't shrink, he doesn't have the super strength. Neither does. That's the one thing he tells about the suit. So you have that. Cheryl, you about to say?
Yeah, you guys are talking a lot about from the storyline and the background of the comics, but I think one, like way above my pay grade that I would ever be talking about, but one of the huge issues that we haven't looked at it from is from a business perspective. You've got Kevin Feige, who has done a great job at doing the whole movie universe and building that out to the level of quality, and he's dipping into Star Wars. And you also have fans who are really interested in how gritty and real and dark the Netflix is. If they make a business decision to keep Disney Plus towards the PG-13, people won't gravitate necessarily to new actors taking over those roles because they're going to be nostalgic for the gritty Netflix. But then your question is, if you want to spin up or keep that gritty universe, you need somebody to keep charge of it on Hulu. And who do they have from a business who would be able to oversee that? Kevin Feige probably can't take that on, nor would he really want to.
Well, that's the thing I will interject with. So Feige isn't directly going to deal with the TV aspect, but he has, Luis, let me do this one. Let me handle this, please. Let me handle this one. Thank you. The thing is, Feige's not going to, he's going to have Feige has his team. He has his team. He knows what he's going to do. He got his team. The fact is, when that was the thing Kevin Feige has been known to be great for, to continue a story. Now, if they are going to, that has been the biggest question overall, no matter how much we may speculate, will they keep those characters? Or will they reformat them for just movies? If they're going to be television, I would trust Feige would have something where it's what Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was supposed to be.
I don't think necessarily, like you read about how hands-on he is or his team. He's got a great team, but they are in dailies. They are in the storyline. They are pulled up. Taking some of them away to focus that kind of attention on building out a new Hulu universe or something, I don't necessarily know if it makes business sense or anything they'd be able to focus on anytime in the upcoming years. It would take a while.
Fair. Joe?
Yeah, I had a comment about like the more street level characters, which aside from Spider-Man, and even that may be iffy, the movies haven't really dealt with any street level heroics or crime. Like, because even the Spider-Man stuff got over the top. So, like, Daredevil doesn't fight, like, his supervillains are mostly normal people, like, just with some skill. So, like, that would be interesting to see how they go about that.
I think that makes a good point, Luis.
I was going to say, I think what we're also forgetting is that originally, the original topic is about is that Feige was not part of the TV show. He had problems with the guy who was in charge of the
Jeff Lowe program.
Yeah. So that's why they never brought them in. Now that's gone, it brings another issue. If he's going to be in charge, or if he's going to let other people in charge of it, so that there's an actual flow of it.
Well, that's the thing. That's absolutely the thing. That's the thing. And Cheryl, I agree with you. What you're talking about business-wise, I get it. But that is the one thing I remember. We've talked about that. I talked about it here. We talked about it on Heroes. We talked about it on Collider stuff. The reason now there's no more Marvel television as that is the fact. What was that? Who just had a motorcycle truck or something?
Remember, I live on a busy street in South Florida, so.
Oh yeah, that is you. Okay, so the reason, so Feige them, Marvel them will have it where there's everything is in one giant universe. Everything is the MCU, whether it's television or film. So Cheryl, what's your point? Business wise, I get what you're saying. People who are nostalgic, but that's the thing. Again, the nostalgia thing is another. The way you break that down and switch it, X-Men. Because we already know we have to get a brand new set of X-Men. You get what I'm saying? We already know that has to happen. So if we can openly accept that we got to have a whole new set of X-Men, why would it be more difficult for us to accept a new Daredevil, a new Jessica Jones? If they even use Jessica Jones, again, the whole thing was to do the Defenders. We know that. But like the only two you really would want them to have, I'm be honest, is literally Punisher and Daredevil. Punisher, even though he's just a former veteran, he's been holding up with some of the big boys in comics. We know that. Daredevil has fought, like you said, yes, Daredevil is a street level dude. Daredevil is that dude. He's more of a neighborhood hero than freaking Spider-Man is at the end of the day. When we all think about it, Daredevil is more neighborhood. Like even when you were watching the series, I remember Matt Murdock told Elektra, I've never been past 115th Street. I've never left New York. That lets you know, like, hey, bro, I don't know what you think the world is, but yeah, y'all might have had aliens, but man, listen, go to California. They've been out there tearing shit up, okay? New Mexico had a dude with a hammer that don't move. You know what I'm saying? Shit got wild. But this is a good man. This is one of those ones. Alberto, you got something you want to say about it, bro?
Yeah. When you're talking about Ken Feige, isn't he in charge of all of Marvel now? The comics, TV shows, everything.
Yeah, Marvel Studios owns it all.
So no matter what you look at, he's in charge of making sure all those storylines are correct. So whether he's building a new TV universe or not, it's still his department now.
Well, because like the only one that's coming out that I don't think is theirs direct is still the old Marvel TV show is Hellstrom. That's the last one because they canceled Ghost Rider. They're not doing MODOK. They're not doing the Tigra and the Howard the Duck. They're not doing any of those. The only one left is Hellstrom, and I really think that's going to be just here, y'all take this and leave us alone.
There was like a bunch of animated shows they were.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
there was
a bunch of animated stuff they were supposed to do. Tiger and Dazzler, all those.
Do you know if What If was ended?
What If is Marvel Studios?
Okay.
What If is Marvel Studios?
Okay.
That's MC. That's Disney Plus. That's for sure happening.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
And
What If?
I think X-Men could fit more easily into the Disney Plus category because at its heart, you've got the school and you've got kids and you've got them training. And so the level of violence and disturbing things that they've dealt with is lower at the beginning and you can ramp it up. But if you're talking about starting with Daredevil, your level of violence to tone it down for Disney Plus would be a big shift that a lot of the fan base, I don't think, would follow.
Yeah, I get you on that. I agree with that way, and I never thought about it. The way to bring in the X-Men would be better through a Disney Plus series because when we drop them in a movie, you got to explain a lot. You know what I'm saying? Because they exist in the MCU. You know what I'm saying? So now you got to explain, hey, man, it was world-ending events and the Avengers almost died, all of them. Some did. Where were y'all? Like, you got to, so you may have a great point that you have to, Disney Plus might be the best start for the X-Men. Like, you have them there, they're Marvel Studios, so it don't matter. Once you build up their series, then you can eventually go movie with them.
Yeah.
Look at you out here creating great solutions. All right, I appreciate you right now. All right. That's a damn good thing.
They're much harder to explain away than the Fantastic Four, where they'd be like, we were trapped in the negative zone.
Oh, yeah. The Fantastic Four is so easy.
Yeah.
They're not going to the negative zone. The Fantastic Four are trapped in the quantum realm, guaranteed. Because once they open quantum realm, That's exact quantum. Once they said, yeah, you can be trapped in the quantum realm. And when freaking Scott came out and said, yeah, for y'all it was 6 years or whatever, it felt like 6 minutes for me or 6 hours. So once he said that, that was like, this is how you completely open up the door to the Fantastic Four. Because what you do is you have their movie set in the 60s. Their movie is in the 60s. So they can be introduced to T'Challa's dad, all the stuff that happens, and maybe not a Victor Von Doom. Because if you're gonna make Von Doom, if you're gonna make Doom the overarching villain for this next 2 phases or whatever, don't have him in the 60s and then come out and then all of a sudden now trying to do this. Unless you have a reason to say, okay, Doom was maybe 20-something years old when all this happened. He went back to Latveria. He learned all these mystic arts on top of growing his technology. You know what I'm saying? All these different things. And then when they pop out after the end of because I think the post-credit scene would be them coming out of the quantum realm. That would be them coming out the quantum realm in the new Baxter building that's being built in New York that we saw in the post-credit scene of Spider-Man Far From Home. They come out in that Baxter building. And that, because remember, the thing said, what's coming? 1, 2, 3, what's next? 4. Fantastic Four. That's what a Baxter building to be. They pop out of it in 2024, whatever year they're set in, 24, 26. Boom. Time's never changed. Well, damn, that makes Von Doom older then.
Yeah, that's what I think. Like, doesn't he have to be?
Yeah, that makes
normally around the same age, but if he's always in the mask, it doesn't matter.
So maybe you have just as much as you have those same members of the Fantastic Four go in the quantum realm, you have an elder of Victor Von Doom. Like it's always been a battle with them. You know, the Von Dooms and the Fantastic Four. You can pull that off. Who knows? All right. I did not expect to do this far.
Because you guys are nerds and I love you. And this is bugging me.
I didn't expect the Marvel talk to go this far, but it did because I only talked about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and we went 30 minutes, and that's what gone on. So let me slide over into my DC news. There's a lot of DC news. First and foremost, DC fandom. It's more ramped up. All the panels and stuff have been announced. We will actually be getting footage from James Gunn's The Suicide Squad and The Batman, which I think is perfect. Everybody's been asking, why haven't we had trailers? Like, because this was happening. Why would you drop a trailer when you know DC is doing its own Comic-Con for one day? Let it live. Like, yo, what do y'all want? So I'm fine with that. I'm fine with the trailer. We'll probably see some inkling of what John Cena is doing, or if we're going to get a Bane, or we know we're getting a King Shark, so you can't tell me nothing. Okay? We getting King Shark. I don't care about nothing.
King Shark, he's black.
You're damn right. King Shark. And if you saw Justice League Dark Apocalypse War, King Shark is a shark. Like that.
Shark is a shark.
Look, spoiler alert, he says this the whole movie until the end when he about to die, and he turned around to Captain Boomerang. He's like, man, it's been a great honor fighting alongside of you. Boomerang's like, what the fuck? Wait, where's all the King Shark? Like, that was all he would say through the whole movie. King Shark is a shark. He was like, we kind of.
Although I liked him in Harley Quinn better.
Oh, Ron Funches is Harley Quinn, which we'll talk about that in a moment. But let me go back to DC fandom because I got some stuff about that. DC fandom. So, like I said, we're getting footage from the Batman Suicide Squad. Something about Black Adam, which I talked about last week, and I'm gonna say that. What can you and the
what?
Snyder's cut.
Oh yeah.
No, come on. Say it out loud for everybody to understand.
No, y'all know what I'm. If you listen to the podcast as long as I've been doing it, you know what the fuck exactly I mean.
Say it.
I ain't got to say it. Okay, I don't want to say it. You can't make me say it.
Scott Snyder, the good Snyder.
You say Scott Storch. I don't give a shit. But I'm not saying, dude. You're getting that cut. People are gonna get people are killing me with this whole look. Somebody commented on the YouTube channel when they saw the last episode. They said, I've never seen somebody get more triggered than when they hear the words the Snyder Cut. And I was like, you're right. But then said, I have to commend you for staying true with your convictions about how much you hate this. I do. Because let me say something. The fandom has made me hate it.
But the think about it this though, the fandom also changed Sonic the movie, and it turned to be great.
Let me say something. Some things are done for good. Some are for evil. The Sonic thing was done for good. Sonic was the shit of nightmares. That did not look like that. Sonic terrified. There wasn't a person on this planet that saw the first trailer for Sonic the Hedgehog and thought that looks great. Everybody was like, "What the fuck is that?" Like that was terrifying. Yes,
the human teeth, man. That was just awful, man.
The human teeth. Like, why was his teeth like? Hey, you're like, like, but like, I understand that people go behind the scenes with the animators and pay and how they, things that happen, unfortunately. But when it comes to this thing, this is evil.
What thing?
Because you know why? You know why?
What
because
thing?
Now they released the Ayer cut. And I said this was going to happen. I said this was going to happen. This is not a good thing because now there are certain times you bow down to fans for what they want. This wasn't a good one because now any movie that they don't think was the credit that it should have been or whatever is now going to have to be turned to these social media hashtags, and it's unnecessary.
That's the world we live in, though. A social media warriors who
it's not even the world. It's not the world. It's fucking fandoms. It's not even the world. It's just fandom.
But they always existed. Fandoms kill Robin. They killed Jason Todd because they liked his ass.
This is very true.
It's been there. More visible because of social media. Because we have voice.
Fandom got Jason Todd his face beat in with a crowbar. Y'all are horrible.
Any other situation, it would have just been the fans throwing their hands up, going around like crazy. But because of where we are now, and because there was so much footage that was shot and not used, that's the only reason that this thing was greenlit, because they shut down production. They couldn't film anything new for months. Who knows when they're picking up? It is something that, yes, it will still cost money. Yes, they'll still have to reshoot or dub or re-edit and package stuff up. But that is the only reason it got greenlit. And the fans don't really take that into mind when they're saying, oh, we need this other director's cut. It's like, no.
This was the part that killed me the most. This is the thing that got me the most. When they did that little teaser thing of Diana looking at a picture that turned out to be Darkseid, and hearing people literally say this 30 seconds was better than the entire movie. I was like, let me tell you something. I kind of agree.
What do you expect, though?
What'd you say?
It's fans. We are the worst of the worst when it comes to that.
Because here's the thing. It looked cold seeing that. I get it. I was for seeing the picture with Darkseid written in the scribe and all that stuff. It was decent seeing Diana find it because, of course, who better to understand about it than an Amazonian, right? But to sit there and say, "Oh, this is better than the whole movie," you are reaching on a level that.
I'm one of the people who actually liked Justice League.
I liked it
originally. Thank you.
I walked out of the theater. Me and my homie Augustine Rio, she catch him on Hyper Heroes. We looked at each other and we was like about 20 minutes. So what the fuck did we just watch?
It was disjointed. It maybe had some potential. At some points you're like, oh, maybe this will go somewhere, and it just fell so flat.
What's the biggest thing for me? The biggest thing for me was, what the fuck is the point of that Russian family? Did anybody ever understand the point?
No. The point was to show that Superman. Yeah, that and to show Superman being this the Boy Scout that we all know. Yes,
you had a random ass Russian family.
They could have done it better. I'm not saying that.
Them purple vines, sir. Them purple vines. Also, the fuck.
I didn't know what that was.
Look, no film is perfect.
Superman in the middle of the woods with Lois Lane. She's like, in quote, "You smell good." Am I supposed to smell good? What?
He's supposed to smell like death.
I'd like to say I've never seen the movie, so hearing all these bits is like, what even was this?
Is that Joss Whedon's understanding of like love stories?
Yes, he doesn't know how to do a love story.
Again, Warner Brothers brought him on. You got to remember, regardless of what everybody feels about Whedon, Whedon was brought on because of him doing the Avengers.
That was the only thing, though.
We know this. I mean, no one is going to deny that there was. No one is sitting there going, well, he created Buffy. Ain't nobody doing that. Everybody is going, Whedon directed the Avengers. So that was, and not even saying Avengers Age of Ultron. Everybody says Whedon directed the Avengers, the first one. That's the only reason. That's the only reason everybody was like, they brought him on. But again, when you say all this, and again, you go to those fans and you go to this movie. There also was I forgot to bring this up. There was also a steal that Zack Snyder posted to Vero, because of course Zack Snyder fucking posts everything to Vero. Who the fuck is still using Vero besides
Zack Snyder? Zack Snyder.
It worked. He posted a picture of Steppenwolf, a redesigned Steppenwolf. Now, here's the issue with it. I don't know how many people paid attention to the timestamp of the picture of Steppenwolf. It is an hour and 17 minutes into the film, like an hour or so, an hour and 1 minute into the movie when you see Steppenwolf. Steppenwolf showed up in the first 17 minutes of Justice League because he was needed to carry the story. If Steppenwolf does not come in until an hour or so, which looks like he is in that temple in Themyscira. So I really want people to sit there and tell me that I gotta wait for an hour and almost some change to finally get this movie going.
Oh, it's
I wouldn't necessarily say
let's go one around. Hold on, Joe, you go first.
It's like Jaws. You got to build up the anticipation.
Next, Cheryl.
I would rather get to know the new heroes that they're introducing so that I actually care about them, rather than like you didn't get to learn about Cyborg, you didn't really get to learn about the Flash, you just throw them in and you're supposed to care about them and all their backstory, which is introduced
because they never told it.
Well, let me ask you this question. Is that an hour worth learning about two heroes? Because you're basically saying 30 minutes for one. Because we know, here's the thing, we know Wonder Woman, we know Aquaman, in a sense, we kind of do and don't. We know Batman and Superman. We know Superman hella dead. We know he hella dead. So if we're establishing this,
if you waited to the end credits, you see the tomb, the dirt rising. But
you stop. I'm gonna mute you. I'm gonna mute you for the moment.
It depends. Again, until it's released, it depends. It could be good storytelling. I agree. Tease things up.
I agree and disagree because it's like, again, the story is about the mother boxes, right? We've kind of seen the beginning. We've got the beginnings of Cyborg, and the beginnings meaning in Batman v Superman when he opened up the file, right? The only thing we're gonna see that we really can say we'll see about Victor Stone is his accident.
And I think that was one of the mistakes. Had it been a Cyborg movie, like not movie, but like it started with them, introduce the world with him, and the mother boxes and him discovering what the hell this is.
That's fair.
It would have been a different story, but they didn't.
Right, that's fair. We can do that. That's fair. Now, I give you 35, 40 minutes worth of that.
Yeah.
But it's not just him, though. It's also him discovering.
Wait, I'm going to hit this mute button, bro.
I'll still be talking. We won't stop talking. You know this already. You work with.
You see how that worked? You see how that worked right there? You thought I was playing? You thought it was a game? You thought it was a game? Huh? Okay. So you do that. But then now we got to start all these stories of all. Now we do the Cyborg and Flash introduction. Okay, cool, right? We still got to go to Themyscira and Atlantis, no matter what, to open up those stories about the mother box being there. So they were dragging this.
Then just magically out of nowhere, there's these.
I'm fine with that. But again, I get it. I don't want this shit to just start and everything just like bam, here it goes. But the problem becomes now if this movie again is 4 hours, it's 4 hours.
I got nephews, man. I got nephews and nieces, and they can't be in no movies. That's
what they're gonna break it down into like 6 episodes on HBO Max. But again, I need people to think about the what everything like what we're saying is completely right. Build up these other characters, these other heroes we don't know. We've just seen clip footage from them, right? But then you still have some footage you have to have. You have to have. He's not. You mean to tell me now all of a sudden in FX he's gonna change the fact that they don't breathe in a big ass air bubble anymore? If he does that's cheating. That's cheating like a motherfucker. Because that shit you shot. You know what I'm saying? If you try to change that effect, that shit you shot.
Okay, but here's the thing though. Before you mute me again,
you know what's about to happen.
No, but I actually have a point. Without being an ass, they messed up though. Like. Yes, we know all this now. 2020, we know what the hell happened. We know everything went wrong. But now they have a chance to actually tell a story. They didn't before. Now they do. Yes, it's over 6 years old.
Here's what you're missing though. Yes, you tell a story. Yes, you get that. I get that. And supposedly, because okay, I get the story. Supposedly also, this was supposed to be 2 different films. 2 films, right? Mm-hmm. Now you got to sit there and warrant. Because we're already at 4.5 hours. Now I know we're close to 4 hours with this. If you're going, let's say 4 hours, 2 hours, one movie, 2 hours the second. Let's just say it's that, right? But according to him, it's got to be longer for each movie.
Exactly. I'm not watching no 3-hour film.
Yes, you will. Yes, you will.
No.
Yes, you will. Let me tell you why. Watch Avengers Endgame.
Yep.
Watch Avengers Endgame.
I love the Endgame, and I love.
I'm just saying that's how we can't take time into that level of time. 3 hours is one thing. 4 is when you start saying, hey, bro, somebody need to hurry up and die.
Hey, I'll watch 6 40-minute episodes. You can take a break between them. You can do that.
And that's probably what they'll do. And that's what they'll do. And go ahead, Joe.
I would do it in the comfort of my own home where I can just pause it and then come back later. In a theater, it's a whole different story.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing too. I mean, I do keep forgetting that part of we're not talking about going to sit in the theater for this whole thing versus an HBO Max release where it's released weekly and you're not seeing all this shit at one time. I get it.
It's gonna make the money. Like whether we like it or not, it's gonna make the money just to see if it fails, especially if it fails.
Wait a minute, you gotta remember this. Hold on. Now I'm glad you brought that up. The assumption is that the Snyder Cut will bring in at minimum $50 million in subscribers.
Nope. You're not.
I'm like, this is me actually asking, what's the price on the subscription?
$13.
I don't even know that.
It doesn't matter. People aren't even buying it now. And you're telling me all of a sudden people are going to pay for, not get the free trial. Because again, you need to pay for it. You have to pay for it to see this whole thing. You're telling me people are all of a sudden going to pay for it. $50 million worth of subscribers is going to come in for that when people are sharing passwords left and right.
And the perfect quote, you're correct. But
you know what I'm saying? And so
I'm going to do it. People be dumb.
I'm telling
you. Forgetting people are idiots.
I get that. I'm with you. But what you're trying to do, you can no way tell me people. We're in the comfort of my. Joe just said it best. In the comfort of my own home, I can watch this. Now, you're not going to tell me you're going to get $50 million. If hypothetically speaking, if Alberto Rios has an HBO Max password, he 9 times out of 10 can be like, "Yo, y'all want to see the Snyder Cut? Yeah. Do you have an HBO Max? No. Here's my login."
Hey guys, I got Moesha for you on Netflix. So you want to share my password?
Right. And so what that does is instead of 6 subscriptions, it's still just 1. So again, I understand. Yeah, I'm not saying no one is going to pay for this. I'm not saying that by any means. There are absolutely people that are going to buy subscriptions for this. Absolutely. But to sit there and say that 50 million when we have again, I've said it before here on Collider Movie Talk, there are way too many streaming services. You are not going to be able to grab 50. You know how they would have grabbed $50 million in streaming services? You want to know how they did it? If the day they were going to launch, they already had it finished. If when they were going to launch,
in business either.
Huh?
Had Disney had Disney Plus, had they done this a couple years ago, they would have made money because there was no competition.
Irregardless, but this is their big thing. This is their thing they're banking off of. The Snyder Cut, not the Harry Potter library, none of those things. It's the Snyder Cut. So if you'd have had like y'all that went behind the scenes, don't tell nobody, right? All of a sudden, Zack Snyder does this screening of Man of Steel on Vero, because again, it's on Vero, and you do this, right? And then the last minute after it's done, what you want to tell the fans? Well, when the HBO Max drops on X Day next week, you can also watch the Snyder Cut of Justice League. I guarantee then you would have got $50-something million worth of subscribers. But now you got to play the wait a year game.
Not only that,
and even beyond subscriptions, this is the age of the internet where people will be able to pirate it the same day.
We're forgetting one big thing. We're forgetting the number one thing. We are in the time of a pandemic when everybody doesn't have money. And even when they do go back to work, people are going to be playing catch up.
Yep.
So you're telling me I can watch my regular TV on Hulu, right? And Netflix might have a few things, but now I got to decide between my regular TV on Hulu, which is $50 a month, to add on another subscription just to basically watch one thing for 6 weeks.
I don't think you're watching one thing though, because
go ahead.
If it works out well, even for some people, they may say, "Oh yeah, I remember Aquaman. Oh yeah, Wonder Woman. Let me go back and watch those movies again." You may get them hooked for a few more months.
But Randy,
I am an HBO Max user, like I said. So because it comes with my cell phone bill, so I really can't do anything much with it. But it's pretty much just HBO. So it's like, HBO is always going to have something great on there regardless. Like I said, this month you got Hard Knocks. I'm going to watch it because of Hard Knocks.
But again, you have to have those football fans who watch Hard Knocks, right? But that's like people who just watch Showtime for certain things, or people who watch Cinemax or Stars. Again, when I talk about all these streaming services, we got to look at streaming services add up. The dumbest, I've said this for years, the dumbest thing we as people, as a society, have ever said was cut the cord. That was the dumbest shit we could have ever said. Why? Because we technically dug our own financial grave. Because we said, we'll cut the cord from cable. Streaming services was like, okay, we're going to make all these streaming services, right? And now you got to buy all these streaming services.
And then you got to get Peacock and all of that other jazz.
All these different services. Again, DC Universe, was a thing, which I'll get into in a moment because I got to move past this. DC Universe is almost dead.
Yep, I have that.
It's almost dead.
I had that too.
I had it. I give it.
So that's the thing. But let me move on real quick I'll talk about DC Universe in a minute. But the Batman, I wanted to bring that up before we went in further. This was the bullshit I heard about this. The Batman is going to explore Bruce's trauma in fun and surprising ways. Excuse me?
Patterson, in the comments that he said, do you expect anything less?
No. This is what I'm talking about. We clearly watch Bruce's trauma every time we watch Batman. Every time he puts on that cape and cowl, we're watching how Bruce deals with his trauma.
Yeah. If I may, I saw a fun comment the same day that came out on Twitter. It says, "Man, we really didn't know how good we had it with Joel Schumacher because he just moved straight past it. It's like, all right, Batman Forever, done with the parents. No more."
No more. Again, I've said this before numerous goddamn times. We know why he is Batman. We've got it. There is nothing new you're going to tell us because there's nothing new you can change about the story. The only reason he's Batman is because he watched his parents get murdered in front of him. That's it. That's all. Nothing to change. Why do we need to keep going into this? Like there is nothing else about this psychopath what Bruce Wayne is a psychopath because he only beats up people in poor neighborhoods. He is a fucking psychopath. People have to understand it. Batman is not in these affluent neighborhoods. Batman is only in the ghetto and the hood.
I disagree, but
very.
This is what we see mostly. We see mostly him in the ghetto in the hood, beating up thugs and criminals. Granted, some of them need their asses whooped. I will agree.
There's criminals.
Gordon.
Wait, what'd you say, Cheryl?
And stalking Commissioner Gordon, showing up randomly in his house and his office.
Again, the man can park his car in an alley that nobody ever notices. The car does not have a Prius engine. Okay, the Batmobile is not out here going. No, okay. Every version of the Batmobile we've ever seen has the loudest engine ever.
Not only that, he's having sex with beautiful women all over the world.
What?
I said he's also having sex with beautiful women all over the world.
That's what Bruce Wayne is doing.
We're talking Batman.
Well, Batman also is, again,
he's a freak.
There's also been, so I don't know if y'all have heard the theory that Bruce is really gay. And the reason that he has all those women, he has the young wards because he likes young men. I heard this wild ass theory a while ago, but he has sex with all the women to portray the role because that's what's expected. It's a wild ass theory I heard. I'm not saying it's mine, but nonetheless,
billionaire Playboy thing, right?
Yeah. But here's the thing. But again, back to the original story. What type of surprising way, besides shock therapy, are you telling me that we deal with Bruce's trauma?
They don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing with the product. We know that Batman and Superman are some of the greatest stories you can ever tell.
Is it? Give me a second. Hold on, Louise. Hold on. I want to see if anybody else got something to say. Alberto?
I agree.
Okay, Cheryl.
Sorry, I was multitasking. What was it?
Don't worry. He said Batman and Superman are the greatest stories you can ever tell. Superman is a white baby found in a field, raised by two white parents. He's an alien baby. Excuse me.
Hold on, not even that. He's an immigrant. There's an immigrant story you can tell there. Don't matter the skin color. It's an immigrant story.
That. Yeah, that's why when people always try to say Batman can't be black. I'm like, he's an alien. He can be whatever color. Joe?
Exactly.
Like, yes, he is an immigrant, but also he doesn't know. Like, for most of his life, he's raised as a white child in America. He much like Batman, his birth parents do not matter because the Kents are his parents.
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Right. It ain't until he find out he got abilities that he find out he got other parents. But Superman is just like, oh, you mean tell me all my life I thought I was special just because being special? Then it's like, no, boy, you came in this shit that's been in the barn and we told you not to touch. Like,
well, that's the thing.
That's why, like Supergirl is a much better immigrant story because she has all the memories of her home.
Right. She knows everything that right. But Superman is just like, I was born to Jonathan and Martha Kent. You know what I'm saying? So, but nonetheless, there is no way that you can tell Batman's trauma that's any because there's nothing new. There's nothing new about it. There's nothing new about his story, his origin, just like there's nothing new about Spider-Man's, Superman's. There's several origin stories. It's like we've known it, we've seen it consistently. It's been ingrained in us, drilled in us. No matter what we do, we keep hearing these stories. The story hasn't changed. So why do we need to try to? The goal of Batman to tell everybody now is about the villains, and it's out of his rogues gallery outside of the Joker, outside of the Penguin. That's why I think the Riddler being his main bad guy in this movie is so dope, because now not only do we get to see another main villain out the rogues, except beside the normal ones we see, we have to see Batman do something we have not seen since Batman 89. Can you let me finish, man? I'm going to mute you, bro. This is my show. Let me do this. Batman as a detective. We finally see that. That's what we see. We're finally going to see that in this movie. That's how you made us interested. Off jump. They already said we don't have to see his parents being murdered. I got you, Randy. We don't have to see his parents being murdered. We get that. This is like year 2 Batman. So you're starting to do it. And now you give it somebody to say, oh, this is how he'll eventually get the title World's Greatest Detective. Randy?
I'm just tired of it. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of the use of the Joker. I'm tired of seeing his parents die over and over and over and over again. I'm just tired of it. I'm happy that they, like you said, that they're going with, a guy that's going to be fighting him with green spandex with a question mark in the middle of his chest. That's something different.
Which I'm hoping it's not as, like, I'll take the question mark. Like the way they did Edward Nygma in Gotham. Even though I did not like Gotham, even though I didn't like it, I would rather them do it where it's a subtle suit. You know what I'm saying?
Like the animated series suit.
or the animated series.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't need this flashy. I don't need to do, especially what they did in Batman and Robin with all like the tights. You know what I'm saying? Or even 66 Batman. Those things I don't need.
Right.
Bring it back.
Those are things I don't need. So I'm fine with that. But yeah, Cheryl.
Yeah, I definitely agree, because when you talk about like the beginnings or the makings of the superhero, Batman is just so superficial. There's little depth to mine when he is younger and even like before he becomes Batman versus Superman. There's a lot of different things you can explore. But that area of, you know, how do you keep going as a superhero when all you're doing is fighting and getting beaten up and you have to lie to your friends, and like that has a level of depth to it that I don't think anyone's truly explored in a long time.
Yeah, I agree. I just think it's the last time we saw it in a sense was Batman Begins. It's the last time we saw his come up. And again, we're not, I don't think the thing is we're not going to go into that because this is year 2.
Right.
This is
and
year
I'm glad.
2.
Skip
Right.
it.
That's what I'm saying. This is year 2 now. This isn't the, man, you know what? I finally just hit my point. I'm going to leave and train. And then when I come back, I got a plan to save my city, basically. Like, we're past that. And so it's so many things. Like I root for the Batman. I'm rooting for this movie, but then I hear shit or Robert Pattinson says something, and I'm like, "Yo, can you just stop talking, bro?" Like we already had to give you the benefit of the doubt on this. We already had to let you sit there and say, "Yo, this is the dude from Twilight." We got past that. When you look at your new movie, we look at your new movies and things you've done in your career, and then you say, "Well, I'm not really training during quarantine." Motherfucker, stop talking. Stop talking. You know what I'm saying? Then you have Matt Reeves and them like, well, the story is gonna actually be this way and that way. Like, bro, what you're saying isn't intriguing to the public who wants to see that. What you're saying is intriguing to the way you wrote the story and like when you're telling the story. But when you say that to people, it's like, I don't think this is appealing as opposed to what I'm expecting. You know, again, I might not be in the majority or may not even be in the minority, but again, it's different things. So I'm going to move on to the next subject right now. So DC Universe, I brought this up. They said DC Universe is on its last legs. Now, Jim Lee from DC confirms that all of the remainder shows are set to move to HBO Max, which finally answers the question. So that would presume that the 3rd season of Titans, the 4th season of Young Justice, and the next respective seasons of both Doom Patrol and Harley Quinn, granted if they're both renewed, will go there. Now, we already know Stargirl is moving over to the CW. Swamp Thing is canceled, which I'm like, that's fine with me.
I think it's a big mistake that they canceled it, especially when they're going to put it on CW.
They didn't know. That's the thing. They didn't know it was going to go to CW. It was all budgetary issue,
right?
And it was literally somebody didn't dot an I and cross a T. That is literally why Swamp Thing ended up being canceled, because it messed up the budget. When they use the phrase, make sure all your I's are dotted and T's are crossed, that is literally what happened. Like, it was something that messed up the tax breaks or something about that. But here's also a dope thing about that. So HBO Max is already set to have a bunch of other shows that we haven't heard from yet. So Green Lantern show is coming. Justice League Dark is supposed to be coming. A Gotham PD show from Matt Reeves, and DC Superhero High, as well as Strange Adventures. So we're expected to get all of these different ones. You know what I'm saying? We're expected to get all these different ones to HBO Max, which, again, you give them the HBO Max budget, I'm perfectly fine with it. You give them the budget, I'm good. But there's certain shows, I'm just like, all right, we just knew DC Universe. I knew DC Universe was not going to last when they announced HBO Max. Mm-hmm. And I thought, like, yo, when you announced HBO Max, the first thing you were supposed to say, if you'd have just told people DC Universe is getting absorbed into this, that's it. But then they thought, no, it'll ride out on its own. And it's like, it's not going to happen.
Do you think they had no faith in it?
Yeah, absolutely no faith. Absolutely no faith. That's a given. They barely advertised it. They was just hoping. They barely advertised, marketed, or pushed DC Universe. They barely did it. They did it with most minimal of. They did it with the whole with enough to say, we did something. That's how they pushed it.
Like
that's literally how they pushed it. And so when you have low ratings on shows, you can't be mad at the shows. You can't be mad at the shows because it's like the shows did what they were supposed to do. I'm glad Titans switched their shit up from season 1 to season 2. Season 1, you couldn't see a thing. Season 2 was like, oh, I can see what's actually fucking happening now.
Now, it's starting good because the only thing I've seen is the previews and then the damn Robin saying "fuck Batman," and that's about it.
Yeah. Well, that was their way of promoting and hoping everybody would buy it. Season 1 was like it's okay. Season 2 got a whole lot better, I will admit, and I'm excited for season 3. So I'm gonna see what's gonna happen with that. But yeah, back to Randy, what you said about them going. Look, Swamp Thing is going to DC Universe with its only to the CW with its 9 episodes. And my problem about Swamp Thing was the show wasn't fucking about Swamp Thing. It was about Abby Arcane. The show was about Abby Arcane, and I was like, wait, what? Go ahead, Joe.
Is there? I doubt anyone has any knowledge, but like DC Universe is clearly dying. What's going to happen with all the comic books that you can actually read on DC Universe?
Probably the same thing. All of it's going to absorb over to HBO Max.
I don't think they're going to allow that.
There'll probably be a DC section.
Well,
there'll be a DC section on HBO Max.
Yeah, because like I know like Marvel still has their comic book app as well. So I'm like, are they going to keep that just at a lower price point, or I don't know?
No, I think you just absorb it. You just because at that point, you could use the theory that Marvel has people paying for their comic books, but when you have something that came down, it's not like the app started as just comic books.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? It started out with it's based off of TV shows, old shows, and all this other stuff, and now you just dwindle it down to just pretty much the comics and stuff. Put it over in HBO Max. Do a section like Disney Plus has that says Marvel. Do a section that says DC as a whole, and boom, you're good.
Which, I'm there for that. So
same here. Like,
just move everything over and I'm happy.
I'm fine with it. Because again, like I brought up earlier, all these streaming platforms, all these different platforms, you pay for HBO Max and then you still got to pay for DC Universe. Like, it makes no sense. It makes no sense.
Yeah, if they had made that announcement at first, like I would have been so excited because I've only heard good things about Doom Patrol and about the Harley Quinn show, but I haven't seen it yet because it's on that other service. And I'm like, okay, once it finally comes over, I'm going to be heads down watching those and catching up on it when it comes to HBO.
Doom Patrol is arguably one of the best shows ever in comic book TV, ever.
It's
because
great.
it allows it. It's weird on purpose, and it accepts what it is. It knows it's wild. But if you ever read the Doom Patrol comics, you know that it's
the
wild.
same thing. Yeah.
It accepts exactly what it is.
It's such a great show, man.
References itself in the first episode.
Yeah, it lets you know
all the
what
Grant Morrison fans will like this.
Right.
Yeah.
It literally says that in the first episode. Like Harley Quinn, the animated series, everybody knows me and Winston interviewed all the showrunners, Justin Halpern, Patrick Shoemaker, and Dean Lorey. I said Laurie. But they, unfortunately, as of right now, have not been renewed for season 3, which is crazy. But here's the problem behind that. So when we talk to them, when Winston and I in the interview, you can check on the Blurch in the Hood channel. When we talk to them, they said it takes almost 18 months for the animation. So the scripts can be written. The scripts can be done. Like, they can have the scripts in the can. Like, boom, boom, boom. Then they have to get the animation. That's the longest process. So until there is an order for the series for the 3rd season, there's no animation done. Yeah, like I said, the scripts, everything, good to go.
They're also going to run into the problems that everyone's going to right now is scheduling, getting the actors' schedules to match up now that everything's been backed up.
They can just do the lines without being ever present.
Well, that was what I was about to say. They don't. He said they told us in the interview they're barely there. Like, most of them are barely in the booth. Because remember, a lot of them. So we think when we hear all the actors, you think everyone lives in one central place. They film out of LA, but a lot of them are in New York.
Yeah.
So all they got to do is just go to a booth in New York and do what they do. So
they can do it from home.
Yeah, a lot of people phone in their voiceovers.
But if you talk about the projects that they have already committed to, the projects that have had to be rescheduled, and all of the work sorting all that out, nobody's
I got you. I get you on that one. But the thing is, that's why this is so much easier.
Yeah.
When we're always talking, like, it's a different story if they had to be on a set. All they got to do is just record lines. They got to say 1 or 2 lines 20 different times, just in case.
Yeah.
Just say it 20 different ways. Boom. Next one. Say it 20 different ways. Boom. Next one. Yeah, Randy.
And they're already familiar with the character.
Oh, I'm sorry, Cheryl. What were you saying?
I was going to say too, and that's
hold on real quick. Randy, hold on real quick. Cheryl, I'm sorry. What were you saying?
They're already familiar with the characters, so it should be an easier in and out, get it done because they've
exactly what it is.
Years to do it. Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. Randy, you were saying?
I was going to say the animation is a bitch, man. Like it's going to, like you said, that's why sometimes they do like 1 or 2 seasons, and then have it sent there. I think they did it with Rick and Morty, and then like Young Justice.
Well, I know they said so. Harley Quinn, what we saw was all sent out as one big thing, and then cut into 2 seasons.
Yeah.
So it was all sent out to do the first 2 seasons, and then they cut it into 2 different seasons, which worked. Mm-hmm. So they got to do that. So they're probably writing 3 and 4. You know what I'm saying? Just to have them in the can, and then go ship those out.
Like,
so let me see.
I love the show, but I'm like, it had such a perfect ending that it could end, and I'd be happy. But I'm also happy for more.
I agree. Yeah. It had one of those. This is wrapped up with the pretty bow, and it's done
because they killed so many people. So.
I mean, they murdered. But the one thing that everybody thought was going to happen happened, and it wasn't forced. It was paid off. The Harley and Poison Ivy relationship. Yeah, sorry, spoiler, Cheryl. Harley and Poison Ivy get together.
Hell yeah!
But they paid it off beautifully.
Yeah.
And the way it ended, it wasn't like forced. It wasn't like there's so many unopened, unanswered questions. It was like, if this is it, it sucks because it's gone, but this is it.
Yeah,
like I agree with you, Joe. Like, this is it.
It's not like Watchmen where I'd be hesitant for a second season.
Well, so the thing with Watchmen, since it's a DC show, I might as well bring it up. Damon Lindelof doesn't want to do a second season. Which, if that
from the beginning now,
what?
Didn't he from the beginning say there weren't going to be in the second season, just going to be 1 season?
Well, yeah, he said that's what I'm saying. He said he didn't want to do a second season, which, to be honest with you, I'm fine with it. You know why? Mm-hmm. Because it's the showrunner.
Yeah.
I'm perfectly fine with the showrunner saying, I'm done. Yeah. Because then you try to bring in another showrunner. Now you got a whole new visionary at the helm who's not the same visionary that gave you this.
I am afraid of them doing that because of how popular it was, though.
I am as well. Let's move on to some other news. Victor Zsasz is going to be the big bad for season 2 of Batwoman on the CW. This will be the new season that will show Javicia Leslie taking up the mantle as Ryan Walker in the character. Now, this is going to be very, very interesting. This season is going to be the telltale season, and it's fucked up that this has to happen this way. Here's why. What you gonna say, Lewis?
No, my question is: do you think they're gonna leave it off as like the finally reveal him a few episodes in, and then fade him out a little bit, and just keep him having more murders and trying to find clues where he's at and everything, until the final ending where it's just him? Because otherwise it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Otherwise it doesn't work.
Yes. It's a 23 episode series, so you can't just have him 23 episodes and it's a CW show. They're gonna give you your big bad, or he becomes the big bad second half of the season. But the problem I have, so Batwoman always had a 2-season order. I've always said this here on the podcast. It's always had a 2-season order because you cannot let the first openly gay, openly lesbian superhero-led superhero show on TV go out with 1 season, no matter what. You just couldn't do it. No matter whether it was good or bad, we already know there was going to be backlash. We know that. Let's just be honest with ourselves. It was going to be hella backlash. So they gave it 2 seasons, right? Cool. The problem now, Ruby Rose has stepped out. I don't have a problem with Ruby Rose leaving. I have zero issue with it. Thank God. The problem is, if Javicia Leslie is good and they still can it, if she's good and they still can it, because this is the telltale season for it. This is the season that's going to determine if they're going to ride with it maybe a season or 2 more. If this doesn't last, then we have to see. Randy, what you about to say?
I hope they got a new showrunner too, right?
No, same showrunner.
Oh, damn.
Same showrunner, Carolyn Dries or Dries. She's the same showrunner for it.
Woo, man, I hope it's going to be good, man. At least she's fine as hell. That's a good thing. But
there's just a lot of pressure on this season, and just the actor.
I hope they don't even mention like the change of person. I hope it's just like it's
too late. Well, Clearly, well, let me break this down to you and let me give you some sad news. It's happening. The story is going. They are literally going to do. So Carolyn Dries or Dries, I can't remember. I think it's probably Dries. She literally said people were because there's this thing called kill off our gays, and like they kill off gay characters. And she said she didn't want to do that with her because she didn't want it to fall in the stereotype. Which this is the only time I disagree with that because you cannot do Batman and Batwoman is missing. Kate Kane and Bruce Wayne are gone, and nobody notices. That it makes no sense. I don't know why. Maybe I'm missing something somewhere. But we already got people. Nobody in Gotham for 3 fucking years has ever put together that. Man, we ain't seen Batman. Damn, we ain't seen Bruce Wayne. No, you know what? Nobody put it together.
That nobody can put together that Superman is Clark Kent.
Well, glasses are amazing too. But anyway, so now glasses are just amazing tool because that's literally what it is. What'd you just say, Joe?
Well, is the wrestling like there's a wrestler Tony Deppen. He doesn't wrestle with glasses, but when I saw him in glasses, I had no idea it was him. I was like, oh shit, it works.
Okay, there's some people, but then when you go, again, now the story is she's missing. Kate Kane is missing, and see, I think it helps but unless this is the problem I have, Kate Kane is missing, but Batwoman is still there. But the problem becomes when someone sees Batwoman and realizes Batwoman's chin is a hell of a lot darker than it was 2 days ago.
But see, that was the thing. Like, if they would have just said, like, they wouldn't have mentioned it. They wouldn't, like, in World, that just Kate Cannon is still the same person, no matter the actress, but she's still this in canon. She's still.
I agree with you. I would have rather them just recast Kate Kane.
Yeah, I would have honestly. And none of the characters mentioned, "Are you black now? What the hell happened?" No.
Yeah, I would rather them just recast Kate Kane and do not bring another person to take up the mantle. Just go. Just recast
it's like a war machine,
Yeah, exactly.
And do y'all remember how they played that off in Iron Man 2? How when he walks
I'm here, deal with it.
Yeah, I'm here. It's me. I'm here. Let's go with it. Boom, and that was it. And
but that was it. That's the difference of having a creative who can like adapt to all these different changes and still drive the storyline. And I think who you've got as the showrunner and leading some of the stuff for this show.
Yeah, I just wish the best to Batwoman as well as all the shows on the CW. Jeff Johns talked about Stargirl, and this is the beautiful. So everybody who's been nervous about what would happen to Stargirl, everybody's expecting the budget to drop, and this is what he told TV Line. He says, quote, "Listen, we have an amazing team, an amazing cast, amazing writers, and we're going to deliver the best show possible." He goes on further to say, our goal is to deliver a show that is cinematic and different than all the other shows and is of the utmost quality, and that we have a lot of talented people to do that. The pacing, the tone, the world, we've already established that, and we have the best VFX house in Zoic, and they're not going anywhere. So that speaks volumes. That just put a lot for me personally as a Stargirl fan at ease. The fact that I know that their VFX team is not changing. They film in Atlanta already. They are staying in Atlanta. Which I'm like, cool. You're not moving anything. Oh, bye, Cheryl. I didn't realize that you were saying we gotta go. Bye-bye. See you later. Thank you for I had to head out. I just saw it in the thing while I was reading. Shit. But yeah, it's like I'm glad to know that they're not changing the visual effects team. I'm glad to know they're not changing the scenario, the setup, the scenery, and anything. I was worried they were going to go to Vancouver, which not because of the look of Vancouver, but it would change the budgetary issues. So now that we know that's not the case, I'm good. I love the way
it's cheaper.
It's way cheap. Well, I wouldn't say it's cheaper. It's the same thing. It's just moved over to another network.
Oh yeah, Atlanta.
Cheap. Yeah, Atlanta itself is cheap. Like, I'll be honest, if I feel like I'm tired of LA, if I feel like I'm done, that's the next stop for me, Atlanta. Because
I was thinking about that.
Because Atlanta, you can work as an actor, you working like crazy still. And I'm like, I'm cool with that. I think that's about all I got for Stargirl, which, by the way, I did do a review of the season finale of that. It's up on my channel. I liked it, but they did some shit I liked it, but I was like, yo, y'all kind of messed me up on some things. So, Joe, did you see it?
Oh, yeah, I watched it. Well, I didn't see the review, but I love it.
Yeah, the review's up there. It's up there.
I love the episode, but while I was watching, I was like, it's getting to Lord of the Rings level epilogues, but I liked every epilogue, so.
I just think like some things they did, I get what they were trying to set up for season 2. It felt like to me they were playing the whole let's set up for season 2, but just in case we don't get it, let's be done. Because remember, they got announced before the season was done that they were getting to season 2. Yeah. So like the season had already been in the can and everything. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, let's just give everything this season in case we don't get a second. But if we do get a second, we got these little things we can still go for. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm cool with it, I guess. But that's all the Marvel and DC news I got for this week. So I'm going to go over to the emails I got from Mad Titan. Email, madtitanpodcast@gmail.com, madtitanpodcast@gmail.com, as well as the Mad Titan Podcast hotline, 818-276-6947, 818-276-6947. I don't have any phone calls this week, but I got a couple questions. And the first one is from Jason Fry. It says, a question about Captain Marvel. He says, I know everyone has been and still is on the Brie Larson hate train, and I see why people don't like the movie. Their biggest mistake was completely writing out Marvel and missing out on a great storyline for a later date. Do you think Captain Marvel 2 will save the franchise, or will Larson never catch her stride? Well, thank you for your question, Jason. First of all, I don't think so. The problem with the Marvel storyline is if you make it too much about Marvel, you take it away from being Captain Marvel. And yeah, I understand we need that build up with who he is, but again, we're not doing a comic book run to build that. Brie Larson is into the character now. There's no ifs, ands, about it. Ifs, ands, or buts about it. She's Captain Marvel. She knows how to do it. Endgame showed whether she's in there a little bit or a lot. Endgame showed her she knows who she is now. We know who she is. She had filmed that little small scene first for and she actually filmed Endgame first.
Infinity War.
She did the small scene for Infinity War and then did Endgame because they were back to back. But by the time she did Captain Marvel, she was still learning about it. But now she's who she is. She knows it. She's got it now. She's had 2 different films under her belt. They know which Carol Danvers they running with, and they run into this Carol Danvers from Endgame. That's fine. I don't think there's no Captain Marvel 2 needs to not catch a stride. Here's why: that movie made $1.3 billion.
A lot of money.
That movie made a lot of money. So for that whole, a lot of people hate her. Clearly not.
Yeah. And I like her too. I think she's a nice person.
love her. Yeah.
The thing is, I think the comment saying that about the comic books, Marvel, the MCU has showed that they don't have to stick closer to the comics for the MCU to make sense.
Yeah,
they adapt it, and they do it
canon to keep that storyline going. Because the problem is also here's another thing I have to address into the email. You can't go back to Marvel. There's no reason to. There will be no reason. Yeah. Also, all of these stories, all 23 movies we were watching were just about 2 movies at the end of the day to lead to 2 films. So you get enough of a story to tell you who this person is, enough of a story to tell you who that person is. Thor 2 is only it's a 2-hour plot device for the ether. You know what I'm saying? That's all Thor 2 is. Then you have Thor, then you have the Guardians of the Galaxy. Guardians of the Galaxy 2 was just all of a sudden now we need to go more exposition just to help what they should have did in the first movie, but you just did way more exposition about who the characters are. That's why a lot of people were like, wait, why are you doing this now?
Yep.
Do it in the first one. But it's cool. But when it comes to Captain Marvel 2, they already know what's going to go on. They good. I have no issue with it. Alberto, you good? Is your headphones working?
Yeah. I'm here.
Because you were looking at them like, man, I bought these bitches from Amazon and they're working. This is a bitch. So
after a while.
So hopefully, Jason, that answers your question on that. Let me go.
I also don't understand the hate with Brie Larson.
I love her, man. She's such a good
that makes no
person,
sense.
I was like, this is a comic book thing. I like MCU Captain Marvel more than I like comic book Carol Danvers.
Yeah,
like,
especially for Civil
way
War.
more enjoyable. But there's also a long history of Carol Danvers up and down writing.
And I hate the people who try to, these are the people who just want to be hella sexist and then try to gaslight, for lack of better words, and going, well, if they really wanted to do Captain Marvel, they would have did Monica Rambeau. Shut the fuck up.
Thank you.
Don't care if they did it.
She'll probably be in the sequel anyway, so.
Right. Like, you wouldn't have gave a shit anyway if they'd have did. Let me tell you, every dude that said that would have been pissed off if they would have started out with Monica Rambeau, and we all fucking know it. Ain't nobody stupid to think they'd have all been like, yeah, they started with Monica Rambeau. Kill that noise. Y'all just want to try to find a reason to justify the bullshit hate for Brie Larson. Because Brie Larson, like I said before on this one, and I've said on this podcast and I've said on others, when she called out, she hates seeing nothing but just straight white dudes at her press junkets. She wasn't lying. She was telling the truth, and it hurt their feelings to hear it. Look, I've said this before. I'm not going to coddle you. Nobody needs to coddle you. Look, shit's got to change. It's starting to change. If you don't like it, oh the fuck well. And if you in your feelings at this moment, y'all already know how I am every episode on this show. I don't give a shit. I'm going to call it the way it is. She called out what it was, and it's the goddamn truth. As somebody who's been at numerous press junkets, it's the fucking truth.
It's facts. Even in sports journalism. Even in sports
journalism. She called it out. It's the fucking truth. You know what I'm saying? That's why
and she's a gorgeous woman too.
Yeah, but that's not important to the whole thing. But that's why we're calling. But that's why, like, when you now see sports analysts and journalists, there's always a woman who knows more than most of the dudes on that fucking panel.
And I love it. And I love when the woman knows just and trashes everybody.
Yeah, man, because they do that with what's the young girl from Bleacher Report, Taylor Rooks and Joy Taylor and all of that. So
yep, so they do that. So again, that shit just annoys me when people be like, saying stupid shit like that. But again, thank you for your email, Jason. So my next email is from J.L. Phillips. He says, in a perfect world, the subject is in a perfect world. He said, what's up, Jay? In a perfect world, to me, Dr. Doom will be the next Thanos level threat. The MCU and the X-Men will be out sooner than later. My question, or rather scenario to you, is Dr. Doom played by Giancarlo Esposito, because we know we got the chops and charisma for it. Then the Magneto played by Denzel Washington. I know he wants this, but this is my perfect world. I know he wants it, but this is my perfect world scenario, because we've all seen old dude do the Denzel impression as Magneto. Then from Professor X, we've all seen from Professor X, played by Joseph Fiennes. Magneto can have his civil rights moment approach, and Professor X can have the naive white privilege, let's be nice until they accept us as mutants approach. So long. Just wanted your thoughts on it. J.L. Phillips II. Now, for me, first and foremost, Dr. Doom Giancarlo Esposito in any main level or role you put in the MCU, I don't give a fuck who it is. It works. If you would have him as a villain after seeing him as Moff Gideon in The Mandalorian, I'm completely sold on that. Yes, I do agree that Dr. Doom should be the next big bad.
Because he is.
He is, but you don't need another galactic, cosmic type big bad. You've already done that. Now bring it lower. Yeah, then after maybe Dr. Doom, you potentially can go to Galactus or anybody else. But leave it at Doom at this. Giancarlo Esposito is him. Yes. Denzel Washington is Magneto would terrify my soul. Because I want villain
Denzel so bad again.
But that's what I'm saying. Because his monologues would be something that would reach into your fucking heart.
Aside from Sir Ian McKellen, he can fit the role well. Because you believe him. He's threatening, and he will end you.
Yeah, but we got that. But but here's the only issue I have: Joseph Fiennes as Professor X. I get it. I don't know. See, I don't know if I want to be one of those. Let me say what I'm saying. I don't know if I want to be one of those people where if you're going to do some of them black, do them all black. Don't just mix it up, because it'll be weird. Because the struggle of mutants is the civil rights struggle.
Yeah.
It's plain and simple.
Like Magneto's Malcolm X and
he was never on none about it. Charles was always more of a pacifist.
Right, which is the Martin Luther King approach. Mm-hmm. And so to see, because it's going to be weird, because to have Joseph Fiennes be the guy, we need to have them all accept each other. Matter of fact, fuck that. It can work. My brain just clicked in.
It can work.
It can work because Magneto's argument is not only do they hate me as a mutant, they hate me as a black man.
Yep.
That's how it works.
You do this to me?
Yep. They hate me as a mutant and as a black man. And that would work.
Keep him Jewish too, though.
So here's the issue. I brought this up last episode. So here's the thing I brought up last episode. The issue with him being Jew, and I'm not saying this is a bad thing, with the Holocaust storyline, the MCU is now into 2024. By the time the mutants come out, that might be 2030 in their time, right? You have to make a story. You have to have a tragedy befall that would warrant the age. Because if that's the case, the Holocaust was in the 40s. Magneto would damn near be 90. And I know we can play the whole, well, his mutant ability allows him to age slower because of him being connected to the magnetic field. But I think that's so much of a pull. Joe, because I know you've been saying that. That was one of the things you were saying to me.
These movies need to embrace the ridiculousness of their source material. Like that's why, like, if they eventually, some of these actors that have been killed off might eventually come back. So, like, look, he's tied to the magnetic pole of the earth or something.
But I think the thing is, for me, they do go with a bit of the absurd, but they do, if you ever pay attention to all the movies, try to keep it somewhat grounded in reality.
You need to stop doing that.
I get what you're saying. Like, yo, these are comic books. This shit
for us, though. We understand. Again, the bubble for us, we understand that the average person, they don't give a fuck. They don't know. Yeah. So it's for them mostly. For being more acceptable for everybody.
For me, the thing is, I want to prevent as many think piece blogs as I can.
Yeah.
I want to prevent those more than anything else in the world.
It's like
we get those unnecessary ass think pieces. That's like, you watch the whole movie and this is what you thought about the whole fucking time. You wanted to write, how is Magneto not old? What type of sense do the magnetic poles make? And then you wanted to cite and source some type of bullshit science equation. No, I don't want. That's my only thing. I want to keep and prevent think piece blog because we get them on things that it shouldn't be.
Yeah, it's dumb.
It's dumb. We get them on things that shouldn't have them.
You know, people can't fly, right? On their own. The end.
You know, there's not a dude that really has a suit that can make him go 61 feet tall and then go subatomic at the same time. You know, that's not a thing.
Yep.
You know, there might be gods from Asgard. There might be, but we don't see them. You know, but no, please, by all means, write your think piece. I don't encourage it at all. But listen, I think that about does it with everything I got for this week of the Mad Titan podcast. Man, this was a long one and a good one and a fun one. And some people made me exhausted, Luis. But but seriously, I appreciate all the members of my squad that joined me. Cheryl Corman had to leave out early. I appreciate her. Alberto Rios, yo, I appreciate you. Your one-on-one with the supervillain be coming up very soon. Randy Constance, man, I appreciate you too, bro. Are you on that tier?
I just did.
I just upgraded, I gotta email you. Matter of fact, I gotta email you because I gotta set up your one-on-one. I just looked at it.
The new job got me working 1 to 10 on the East Coast. We gotta find a way we can do this early.
Hey, bro,
or Sunday.
Hey, bro, I don't sleep. B, we'll figure it out. I'm gonna send you the dates, and I'm gonna have you go with the date that go best with you. Yeah. Luis Torres, man, you, sir.
Yes.
You, sir.
Look, at least I didn't make you cry this time, all right?
No, you didn't.
Mr. Thug.
Fuck out of here. Joe, I appreciate you, man. I love having your emails and everything. I'm glad you got to sit in with us. I saw you talking about the Wi-Fi earlier. Like, listen, last time I tried to do this, my Wi-Fi disagreed with me a lot.
Oh, yeah. It's a nightmare scenario happened last night to me. So I'm like, what if my Ethernet stopped working? So Wi-Fi.
So this is what we're going to do, man. I want to say thank you all to everybody. I'll go around before I give all the love to all the squad members as a whole. If you got anything you want to plug, anything you want people you want to reach you, please let them know. I'm going to call them out, everybody out, so you guys can go in the order I call you. Alberto Rios, you first, bro.
You can follow me at Chi-Town Power. I got nothing really going on in entertainment. And none of y'all understand Superman.
Randy, go ahead, bro.
Yo, Randy Savage. You can follow me on Twitter at RJC Lifestyle. Just actually launched my website, which is my video portfolio. RJC Vids, VIDZ. Y'all check it out. Tell me what y'all think. I got my resume coming up. I'm about to graduate in 6 weeks. Your boy is looking good, about to dominate this film industry. You feel me?
Yeah. Joe Crack, go ahead and tell him if you got anything.
Yeah, if you want, you can follow me on Twitter at JO_CRAK.
I love it how people are like, yo, if you want to, it don't really. I love it when people, I don't care.
I don't have anything to promote. So.
Luis, go ahead.
I'm going to hold myself out. So you can find me on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, whatever the hell you want me to find me at LT King 93. I'm a whore. I'm gonna need my money. Mm-hmm.
Well, we went deep on that one about your whoredom, but all right, cool.
You do the same thing too in all your podcasts.
Listen, follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Mr. J Washington, MRJAY. You should know how to spell Washington already. The Patreon, patreon.com/Mr. J Washington, where all these wonderful people are part of the Supervillain Squad. And speaking of the squad, I want to give first and foremost, you all are producers. They already know, producers of the show, producers of the content that I put out, because without them, there's no me, and I appreciate y'all. So shouts out to my newest members, James Robbins, Patrick Harden, Quentin M. Moreau, and my existing members. Here we go. Adam Collins, Alberto Rios. You already know you're 101 member. Cool. Adelia Chamberlain, Ashley King, AZ Badfish, Brian Kimmett, Brandy Parker, Brock Severson, California Joe, Chauncey Woodson. You already know, bro. 101 members. Cheryl Corbin, Christopher Conley, Constantine Lobe, Dan Bimke, David Adams, David Gaines, Deontay Clemens, Dizzle, DJ Snacks, Edward Wilshire, Fanboy Cantina, Fillmore Pockets, Fred Castillo, Greg Morishik, Hank Staley, Hillary Nellums, Jay Breezy, Jake Icavetta, James Smart, Jared Simpson, Jason Inman, Jeffrey Chadorn, Jim Mason, Jim Payne, thank you for being a 101 member. Joe Crack, thank you for hanging out with me today. John Mariano, John Lestrina, Justin Square, Kirsty Oliveria, Kyle Grandinetti, LK, Luis St. Torres, that's this dude over here. You already know. Yeah. Marcus Burton, Marcus Kennedy, Mike Moore, Mikey Lito, Paisley Darts, Randy Constance, dude over there. Thank you, man. I'm gonna hit you up and send you the dates for this. Raul Alejandro Mendoza, Rudy Rueda, thank you for being a member at the 101. And we did yours and we had fun. Submit to Fly, same thing. Steve Tozen, the Prince That Wasn't Promised, and Travis Earl. Thank you, everybody. Listen, please, if you have not done it, rate and review this episode on whatever podcast platform you get it from, man. Let the reviews know, let the rates know, put it up higher in the algorithm. Share this joint. Like, yo, they want to hear something different in nerd talk in the world. But motherfuckers are just talking like regular people. Because I don't want to have to be, so guys, this is what's happening in DC today, or this is what Marvel was doing. Like, I don't want to do that. So I want you all to share it and make sure people hear that. Catch me and Winston every Tuesday live, Blurds in the Hood, youtube.com/BLERDS, the letter NTHEHOOD. It's 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. on the East Coast, and on our Twitch channel as well. Game time every Monday with the Outlaw John Roca on his YouTube channel, youtube.com/The Roca Says. That's that. My birthday is August 25th, coming up in a couple of weeks. Matter of fact, it's next week. So if you want to go ahead and send birthday blessings, Cash App or Venmo me. If you're looking for what it is, it's Mr. J Washington on either or. It's Mr. J Washington. Going to be a birthday blessing. So if it's Venmo, it's at Mr. J Washington. If it's Cash App, it's $, Mr. J Washington. But either way it goes, whether you do that or not, I appreciate more than anything you listening to this episode, you supporting and you rocking with your boy. Thank y'all. I will holler at y'all next week. Till then, take care. I'm out of here. Bye.